Welcome to episode 4 of The Road to Cheltenham. It's getting ever nearer. Of course, we've got a very busy Christmas period as well to look forward to. But the weekend, we're going to discuss the Jonbon El Fabiolo angle. And they may clash. Frankie and Joel alongside me as ever. Frankie, back from his jaunt to Hong Kong. Not jumps racing, no real Cheltenham clues. But come on, tell us how good it was.
Unbelievable. Hong Kong was class. I got lucky twice really with the Fergie trip and Spirit Dancer winning, and then Golden 60 winning in Hong Kong, which was they all went berserk for because he is their kind of national treasure. And Vincent Ho won the IJC on the Wednesday, so made my life easy to cover it because all the right things happen for racing. But they do a proper job out there. I know they do only have 2 courses to look out for, and they do have a lot of money to make them as good as they can. And I did go on one of the best weeks of the year, but could learn a bit from Hong Kong racing. They do a real good job of promoting the sport, and everything's just a lot more positive. We're a bit negative over here, I found. Over there, they all support it. They're all positive. They educate you about punting. They seem to do it in the right way. So it was a good trip, and not jumps racing, but thoroughly enjoyable.
Where did it all go wrong from Joel? Closest we get to Hong Kong, local takeaways.
Yeah, it's a good point you make
Good
there.
food as well.
What happened? I'm going to say, his new mate Mikel. I got up on Sunday morning. If you missed it on the Punter's Guide, I was out with my mate Mikel, Barcelona, and he'll win the sprint, right? And they're racing. He missed it by about 5 lengths.
Not the sprint. No, it wasn't the sprint.
Whatever. I'd given up. I'd given up by this point.
Didn't win either way. Yeah, I backed Ryan Moore as well because I think that was the lightest weight he'd ever had to make. I think it was 8 stone 4. So he wasn't his usual chirpy self, and I backed that, and that didn't come in either. So I didn't back a winner. I backed Luxembourg as well, which was done by a nose. So it was a frustrating day for punting, but a fun day.
Yeah, we are a day late with the road to Cheltenham, as you might notice. Beyond our control today, Frankie's still travelling back. I was unavailable as well. So it's a day late, but we're still going to talk about the same action from the weekend. Of course, this weekend's Punter's Guide on Friday. We'll look ahead to Cheltenham's December card as well. Don't forget, you can watch us here on YouTube, subscribe and like the channel, and you get notified whenever there's a new episode available. Or you can listen to us and take us anywhere you go now on Spotify. So, boys, I'll start with you, Joel, as you were over here, keeping your feet on the ground, watching the action closely. Jonbon and El Fabiolo, let's throw them in together. Of course, they've met at Aintree, where Jonbon came out on top of the hurdles. They met at Cheltenham, where it was El Fabiolo's turn over fences. It might not be Cheltenham for race 3, though. It could be Ascot after both won at the weekend.
Oh, come on. Do you think Nicky's going to get beat? I think I've come off the Jonbon train here. And I've gone to the other side. To be fair, I thought visually, Jonbon looked like he got better, trained on, and let's be honest about it. I think El Fabiolo is still the best horse. If they meet at Cheltenham, I think there'll only be one winner. But I'm not taking. Is it odds on now? 10 to 11 or something like that for El Fabiolo. That's not an anti-post bet for me. And I just can't see him in Ascot. What happens if they meet at Ascot? And El Fabiolo absolutely smashes Jonbon, or the other way around. One of them will only end up at Cheltenham then. Do you not want to keep them apart until then?
Yeah, I think so. But when they're getting down that dangerous ground of Cheltenham being the Holy Grail and everything being geared towards that, what's the point in having another 5 months of racing if we all get to Cheltenham? But I remember years ago, I was going to go to Bangor, and Denman and Blackjack Ketchum were entered in the same race, and then Blackjack Ketchum got pulled out, and of course they didn't actually meet at Cheltenham. That was being billed as a big race, but I suppose it's that point, isn't it? Will they meet? Shishkin and Ergamen met there last year, Frankie. What do you make of El Fabiolo and Jonbon? I know you're a massive fan of Jonbon, but does El Fabiolo have the edge now?
I think so, yeah. I think it's logical to presume El Fabiolo is still the better horse. Like, you kind of rewinded on their career a little bit when Jonbon did win by, I think, a nose over hurdles at Aintree. I know this is going back a long way, but just to get an idea of kind of how they size up against each other. That was El Fabiolo's first start for William Mullins, so you probably mark that up a bit. And then El Fabiolo won everything over chases, including beating Jonbon by 5.5 lengths. Jonbon has looked better this season, but they're both going to improve, or you assume that they're both going to improve. So I think it's only logical to assume that when they meet again at Cheltenham, El Fabiolo will still be the better horse. Like Joel said, I don't think there's any point in taking a price now, because unless they face each other, and El Fabiolo smashes Jonbon, then he's not going to shorten between now and the festival. If it does come to it that they both line up at Ascot, then you might want to get your bet in before they race there. In an ideal world, I've been saying that the only chance that Jonbon will get to beat El Fabiolo is at Ascot because of the way that they race around there. I'd like Jonbon to win that race, El Fabiolo to drift a little bit, and then back in for Cheltenham. I think he's the best horse, and I think provided they're both sound and they get a good run towards the festival, El Fabiolo the right favourite.
Yeah, I imagine it'll be El Fabiolo to Ascot, potentially maybe Jonbon to Newbury, and then they clash at Cheltenham. Could be the way, like Joel wishes. So let's look at the stay-in novice chase then, because we had Stay Away Faye winning a brand new race at Sandown. He needed every yard of it, Joel. 3 miles around Cheltenham, if it's decent ground, would he get caught out a little bit? Is he one for the not quite 4 miler now?
Yeah, I think he's going to get older and slower as he goes on. I watched that race in a pub, a proper old drinking man's pub, which you never see anymore, in Preston. And a couple of lads behind me had backed Giovinco, and they were slating. It was Stephen Mulqueen who was on it, wasn't it? Not Stephen from Deal or No Deal. They were saying straight away that should have won and he should have given it more of a positive ride. But I don't agree. I think, look, you've got Harry Cobden, who's the best jockey in Great Britain. That was it. The charging man that fell and caused them problems at the end. Stay Away Fate is just a stayer all day. It'll stay all day, but I think with the pedigree it will get slower, and that's what I was chatting to these fellas about. But it's one for the book here. Now we will go to Brown's advisory, I presume. But if you're Paul Nicholls, right, would you not have a cheeky go at the Gold Cup? I mean, I've not seen any prices or anything like that. But if we're looking for like value, and there might not be any value if we don't go, and I probably won't go. But if we're looking at a silly price for Stay Away Faye for the Gold Cup, would you not have a go if you're Paul Nicholls?
He's got Brave Man's Game though, hasn't he? Or
yeah, but
saying that
but Brave Man's Game was Kempton.
He seems to have given up on Brave Man's Game.
Yeah, this is what I mean. He's and he's he's a trainer who ran Corto Star and Denman and whatever, right? Brave Man's Game.
What a friend.
Yeah. What a friend, yeah. The target has always been King George. He said that in every interview. And, he's been beaten twice now. He was next coming to Denman. And then Paul said, I never actually said that. Well, okay, you didn't. But I would feel that he's probably not given up on him. But I think Harry would ride Stay Away Faye in the Gold Cup. That's it. I don't think
it's the craziest thing you've said. Well, it's not the craziest thing you said, that's for sure.
No, it's definitely the craziest thing you said. Yeah.
But you have got a point. Yeah, and he does just stay. You feel like with those horses that stay like that, you don't see the best of them until they go up against proper horses, do you? Because you never really know what they're going to find. I don't disagree with you, Joel.
Okay, well, Matt, prices, Gold Cup.
About 50s, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you're still a novice, but you're going to be at least, at the minute, without knowing a no bet, you're looking at least 50s, aren't you? I mean, you're still a novice. Yeah. He's only had 2 runs on offences, for Christ's sake. But...
but hang on, this is the way racing's going now, isn't it? It used to be we'd see him week in, week out. Oh, there's a cloud in the sky. We can't run them. We can't do this. Or we run once and do all of this. But why not? We're changing it up. Why not? I'm much happier to sit on a fiver, 50-1 each way shot, first 4, than I am sitting on El Fabiolo hoping it doesn't get injured or doesn't face Jonbon in Clarence House.
Oh, yeah. Naturally. I mean, I'm not giving up on Giovinco 42. I agree that loose horse called Carnage, he travelled the best. He's never got away from Stay Away Faye. He's just an out-and-out stayer. But I think on Benny Grant, I tell you, the differential in prices, I am not giving up on Giovinco one bit. I think he is very, very good. So that was the staying division. What about the 2 mile division? At the end of the 8th, Le Patron went on to win it for Gary Moore. The outsider of the field, Frankie, being Colonel Harry, who stuck on. JPR1, again, I'm still not losing the faith in him. That peck on landing 2 out certainly halted his momentum, and then it was hard for him to get in that ground, back going up the hill. Back on better ground, I still think he's a player in the 2 mile division.
Yeah, Gage, you went to Joel first on the staying chase and came to me on this one because our friends at the Racing Post, whoever's job it is to clip that race up, has just clipped the part where they go around the parade ring and not the race. So I haven't been able to watch it back. I was obviously away the weekend and didn't see it live, so I haven't seen it. I've only had a little read at the Racing Post, but just looking at the Arkle market, God, we haven't got a hope in hell over in England, have we? I mean, the top 5 or maybe even 10 are Irish novice chasers, and I think really you're waiting for that Boxing Day 2 mile chase at Leopardstown, where Facile Vega will probably got a favourite. You got Mr. Policeman in there, which Rich Ritchie owns. You got Ilete Thompson there. One of, I think, Gordon's in there as well. They're pretty much going to line up there, and that looks like the Arkle market will sort itself out after Boxing Day over in Ireland. Your mate Marine National, who I'm doing a bit of you this year, Matt. We haven't seen him race, but I still think he's the most likely winner. So I find the Arkle market quite hard to make up at the moment. I'm kind of waiting till Boxing Day. I didn't see what happened at the weekend in England because Racing Post won't show me. And it's all aboard the Marine National train again.
And yeah, Irish dominant. And I know Joel thinks Gaelic Warrior win the Arkle, the Turners, the Brown Advisory, the Gold Cup and the boat race. But what did you make of that Henry Novices chase?
I don't think it was a fluke. And David Noonan gave it a brilliant ride. It's his first Grade 1, I believe, isn't it, as well? And when you talk to jocks about other jockeys, it's very different on the flats. I think everyone pretty much hates each other, unless you're Tom and Holly. Whereas the jump jocks are much more, friendly. And anytime you mention David Noonan, never met him before in my life, everybody says how underrated he is and what a nice guy he is. And if the Racing Post had put the video up for Frankie to watch, you'd have seen all the jocks coming over. A bit Jamie Moore-esque, when they all came out for Jamie Moore. I thought it was a brilliant ride. I don't think it was a fluke. JPR won. I thought it was one of the best bets of the weekend. I don't think that Peck on landing. I think he was beaten by then. I think it got a lot closer. But just lets himself down again. It wasn't jockey error. For Frankie, who hasn't seen it, this is what happened. Coming to 2 out, was it 3 out? And he just went like that, and on that ground couldn't close. But I don't think it was a fluke by any means. And Gary Moore had a treble at the weekend, a stable that's not been in terrific form. So I would say definitely not a fluke. And I was a bit cheesed off with JPR 1 because I backed it the last twice, and I thought, and we said on the Punter's Guide, this is the day we get the money back, and we didn't.
I can just tell you, Frankie, it looked nothing like that. But yeah, he did basically back on land, and I thought it was hard for him to get going again. Yeah, something like that indeed. Right,
David Maxwell had a winner as well, Joe.
Yeah, I know. It was honestly.
Talking of jockey impressions.
I thought Luke Morris had taken out a jumps license. He was the happy man. Fair play to him. No, don't mind David Maxwell.
I wasn't going to mention the Gary Moore. I was going to mention the Gary Moore trouble because it did involve Nassalam. It did involve the Nat.
It involved the Nat. Let's forget about Nassalam. Well, obviously being away, I didn't give Chepstow the credit it deserved, and I didn't look at Chepstow. I thought I'd leave that one and just stick to the better cards. And yeah, Nassalam went in by 6 lengths on the hard held by a 3-1, something like that. Disgraceful.
Ardell, it was Ardell, although saying that, I don't think he wanted to go another yard. The way he stopped very quickly at the line, he may have been getting only. I'm not sure if he'll see out the Welsh national trip. We will find out. But yeah, I'll give you the nap. It was a winning nap spirit, Dano. Bring you back down to earth with a bump as well. With Nassalam finally winning with Frankie not on. And I know you can't see this on Spotify, but is that a really small cup, John? Have you got massive hands?
No, hey, I've got massive hands, I tell you. There you go, look at those. No, it's from Manchester Market. One you get the mulled wine in. So they're not going to give you a big one, are they?
And about
if you said that any quicker, then people will be questioning what we're looking at. A small cup.
It's a mug. Yeah, the 4th mug on the show. Right, let's have a look at some novice hurdles then, because there's a few, wasn't there? Deafening Silence, ground out victory to win at Sandown. Search for Glory won at Cork on Sunday as well. And the one that I really thought was impressive was the newest one. All right, it was not putting the strongest race at Chepstow, but after going 3 miles in soft ground, I've not seen a horse sprint to the line as quickly as he did. Open up, I think it was 19 lengths in the end, and I'm sure he's related to the new one as well, for Nigel Twiston-Davis, another trainer who had a good weekend. It was only novice hurdle, the others are in Grady company, but he could be one for the Albert Bartlett potentially, Joel.
We say that every week. Well, I feel like I say it every week. Visually, you don't know what he's beaten, but he looked really good. And once you put him against better horses at a better track, he might not be as good. But out the three that we're going to look at, Deafening Silence, Search for Glory, newest one. That was the one for me that I thought, oh, hang on a second, I might have a little few quid on this, because we're getting there 3 months out now, and I say I'm sitting on a 50-1, probably non-runner, and a Gold Cup. I've got the champion bumper horse, which is I think it's been retired. So no, I was really impressed with the newest one. That was the 1 out of 3 of Deafening Silence, Search for Glory. The newest one for me, very impressive. Like they say, racing cliche, could be anything. Albert Barlett bound.
Yeah, look, he looks at it. That was 3 miles, and I said I've not seen the horse finish so strongly on that ground. He must have been the one the whole day that finished with so much running, because they were absolutely knackered at Chepstow. Frankie, did you get to see any of those?
Yes, I thought it was impressive. Looking at the RPRs, only recorded an RPR 126, which is a way off of Search for Glory's previous run, and even Deafening Silence. I thought Search for Glory finished his race well as well, which was also on heavy ground and over 3 miles. I thought that was an eye-catching finish. I know another horse went with him. She didn't quite look as sexy as, but I was impressed with Search for Glory. There's a horse I hope goes to the Bartlett, Croke Park, which beat Search for Glory by about 6 lengths, 2.5, in a good race that had Mal Monroe in, who was also second to Bruno at Cheltenham. Whether or not that horse goes to the Ballymore or the Bartlett, I don't know. I reckon it'll go to the Bartlett, because it won that race being quite tough in the finish, and I hope it will probably even get better stepping up in trips. So the Bartlett horse for me is another of Gordon's, Croke Park.
Yeah, and Mel Monroe actually runs probably before this. You'll watch this. Obviously, he's recording this just before that one does run at Punchestown as well on Tuesday afternoon. Another horse this is going to hurt Joel, I know, because I know he's all over Stellar Story this weekend. But Slade Steel, I thought was a really nice performance, really tenacious, gutsy, all the way up to the line, and he's 14-1 for the Ballymore. Would you be interested in that?
I would now. I think when people say the story's alive, not the dream's alive. Stellar Story, no excuses. Could have controlled it from the front, which he did. Slade Steel just looked fantastic for the Ballymore. What do you say, 16s? Looks a real player. You know, when they say the dogs are barking about this one, I've been barking about Stellar Story. I even said on the Punter's Guide this week that I think this is a really good horse. Look, I mean, didn't run a shocker, but I just couldn't see any excuses. You know, and I'm trying to think of excuses now. The ground, there was no jockey error. Just wasn't as good. So around 14-16 for 1 for the Ballymore. The winner is in the book.
Yeah, and he beat King of Kingsfield as well, didn't he? 2 starts ago, and he finished third in Grade 1 companies. That form's stacking up. Frankie, Slade Steel, a player for you?
Is the third in Grade 1 company when he was behind Ballyburn in a bumper. I think, even though I had Anderson's horse for the Supreme, that was more about getting the price. There was a race at Fairyhouse, I think last weekend. Firefox won it, and Ballyburn was in second. Ballyburn's beaten Slade Steel by about 6 lengths. I think Ballyburn's your Ballymore horse, and Firefox is your Supreme horse. I'm going in early. I'm going to stick with those 2, I reckon, until we get there, in case anything does anything drastic. I think that race at Fairyhouse, they've both got good form, bumper form behind them. They both went clear of the rest of the field. Firefox did it stylishly. Ballyburn stayed on like more of a bally horse. There's your 2 for the novice hurdles.
Did like a strong contest that at Fairyhouse, didn't it? Could it produce 2 Cheltenham winners? Only time will tell. Anything else to discuss? I mean, do we talk about bumpers? Bumpety Bump loses 100% record, Joel, although cast nothing in defeat. He was an odds-on favourite. He was behind.
Yeah, forget that one. He got beaten by 9 lengths. Had a hot pot that was about 1-5 in the morning, so we would put that without a price. So you did no harm if you backed it at 9-2. I can't believe we got this far, and we've not talked about Fighting Fifth. We've not talked about Nicky Henderson. I mean, I got a load of pens printed at the weekend. Sandown, Constitution Hill, I was there. Shishkin, I was there, and I was going to flog these outside, but non-runner, surprisingly. And the Fighting Fifth got moved once again. A Northern Grade 1 is off and gets moved down south. So Nicky could take both horses down there, and Nico could ride them both. So it's not here up at Aintree, very similar track, and we get ripped off. And I generally don't think he had any intention of running either of them, which is a bit ridiculous until you saw the ground And then I changed my mind completely, because if I had a horse that good or with that potential, I would not run it on that ground the weekend.
It was.
Love Envoi.
Because those course is different because they water that for the flat. The chase course wasn't as bad, so that was the issue that they had. I think he pulled out all his hurdlers in the end. Go on, then talk about it. Not So Sleepy comes out and wins. I mean, well, I know, Frankie, you're a massive fan of Love Envoi, and Noel Philly said afterwards, didn't he, that she will come on for that. She wasn't quite right. She's not been quite right. But it's the same plan. Sandown again in January, I think, and then the mare's hurdle at the festival.
Yes, slightly worried after that run, if I'm honest, because she finished last season with a bit of an injury over in Ireland, and she did not look like she loved her racing as much as she did last year, especially at a track she's won at, I think, twice before, and won out first time out last year. So watching that, wasn't getting carried away with my anti-post slip for the mare's hurdle. She does really need to kind of put in a performance next time that looks like she's enjoying her racing and just travelling better. I mean, it was tough, to be honest, because she did stay on into second, and for a long way round, you might have thought she was going to be pulled up or finish nowhere. So you did still see that toughness, and I suppose her class, but she just didn't look comfortable racing around there. So she's got to look different next time. Got to travel much better for me to be able to be back in the mixer for the mares.
And Joel, Hugh Morrison doing it again. Sean Bowen on board, Not So Sleepy.
Yeah, isn't it like nine years since its debut? Was it Nottingham? I think it was. 11-year-old. Fair play. I loved it. Love Envoi just was never going. At any point, right? Did you think, oh, please, Goshen, don't go and win. Don't go and win. You're gonna win, aren't you? You're gonna win when I'm not on. And those big prices that we looked at anti-post before they took out Shiskin and Constitution Hill, I think Not So Sleepy was 100 to 1. And I would have said, 11-year-old, we'll put a line through that. I thought Goshen was going to win, but obviously went off too quick. And the other one was gambled on. Never really showed me staying on the end. But Love Envoi, I wish Noel Field had told me about it when I was chatting to him at Haydock a couple of weeks ago. I asked how Love Envoi was. And no, we're getting there. All roads lead to Sandown, but not the winning post. So no, it was a good race to watch. And sometimes, we always talk about horses being around for a long time, and this horse has done it. 11 years old, it's flat. It's won a Grade 1 before, I think, as well as one more. But no, it was nice. But again, a lot of this weekend, the form. If you run that on proper ground, none of this form's going to stack up, is it?
I think that is key, and that's something that you certainly think about. The form right now in this ground, if it's very different come Cheltenham, everything will be reversed or out with, not even looking at these kind of results on this ground. Everything will get changed.
October 2014 in a 1 mile Class 5 maiden. He made his debut.
At Nottingham.
Oh, it's that at Nottingham? Yeah, you're right, Joe. Yeah.
It's good knowledge. Good knowledge.
Good man.
Yeah, no, but he's not going to win a champion hurdle, is he?
No.
The way it's going, you've got to run a few times before that. they're all going down the Marine Nationale route. But back to bumpers. We're now 5 from 6 for Bumpety Bump. He's looking out for On Cloud Wine, which is a Richie horse at Mullins, surprisingly. Men will be decent, and that should be coming out in the next couple of weeks. On Cloud Wine. So one for your tracker.
Yeah, exactly. Noted, and get it in that tracker. Right, boys, I think that wraps up. Nothing else that we need to discuss from this weekend. Of course, next time we meet will be on Monday. We'll be discussing Cheltenham, looking back to this weekend. And you know what? We'll even have a long-range look at some of the Christmas markets as well. Not those Christmas markets, the Christmas anti-post markets. For the King George, some of those, exactly. That's what made me think.
Joel's going to be flogging some pens.
I was there. Quick. Yeah, Brave Man's game. You're Brave Man's game, Pen.
Kempton on Boxing Day now, flogging the same. So yeah, make sure you join us Monday. And of course, Friday. Get your punter's guide, and we will try and point you in the direction of some winners at Cheltenham. So don't forget, like, subscribe. It'll let you know as soon as those new episodes are available, and you can listen to us anywhere now on Spotify as well. This was the road to Cheltenham, and hopefully we'll see you Friday for the punter's guide, looking ahead to the December meeting at Presby Park.